We are live on the chat with trans influencer Shape Shifter. Hi, Shift. How are you?
I'm good.
You're
Hi.
doing good. Good. I wanted to invite you so we could chat about. I did see a tweet from you on Twitter that you were being blocked or you were being threatened
Right.
that you were going to be blocked if you continue to share your story about your transition and all the difficulties that you've been going through, both physically and mentally, right? Because I think it's a
Right.
combination for you, right? You're dealing with some mental health issues and some physical issues that happened during your transition.
Right.
Um, so, before we get into that, so how old were you when you transitioned to a woman?
I was like, well, again, like, I guess I came across transgenderism, like the notion of transgender, when I was in graduate school, which was like around 21, 2021. That's when I kind of socially transitioned. I guess started, I don't know if that word even makes sense, but cross dressing, because cross dressing would mean that certain clothing are sex, and then it kind of progressed really quickly to like hormones and surgeries. I got like rapid onset of gender dysphoria because the minute I discovered trans identity, I started comparing myself to other trans influencers online. At the time, Gigi Gorgeous was very popular. She was like breaking the internet, and I felt not as feminine, even though before that I was androgynous and like I enjoyed my femininity without thinking that I was a woman. Like, but then the minute I came across that notion, I just got suckered into it because I internalized a lot of homophobia. Like, I grew up in a Muslim country where I got brainwashed that attraction to men as a man was something evil and not natural, and like I that brainwashed that like gay was horrible, and like the minute I came across it I was like, oh my god, this is my chance to like move up the ladder in society. So I have a bit of OCD, so I got like obsessed with transition right away. And so it really quickly went, like, it was so easy to get on hormones. I live in Massachusetts, so I went to a hospital that now I know is more of an activist hospital, like Family Health. Most of the staff there is LGBT, and so I just got pretty much affirmed,
Yeah,
into this whole BS and ruining my body because what got sold to me was sex reassignment surgery, which right away caused a lot of complications. Like things never worked the way they were supposed to. I thought I was gonna have sex, like straight sex, I guess,
not
spread
like
my
normal
legs.
normal
Yeah,
sex.
yeah, I thought like, oh my god, like I'll be able to have sex in a car, it's like not having to prepare for anything, and that wasn't the case at all, and like after I sacrificed my dick, I never got a functional, like I didn't even get a tunnel that stays open. Moreover, like nobody told me that I had to take hormones for the rest of my life, like literally nobody. So because of not taking hormones right after the surgery for a few years, I developed like bone issues, osteoporosis and scoliosis, and now I'm on hormones. Trying to get testosterone back in my body. I just went on gel. Before gel, I tried patches and injections, and initially those worked, but then they started giving me allergic reactions. Gel so far is working, but I have to apply it every day, and I'm getting paranoid because it can transfer to other people and pets. So I'm like getting OCD and washing my hands like 20 times a day because I have pets, really worried that it could poison them. So this is not fun. I feel like really exhausted from life. I'm only 31, but I feel like I'm 100 years old. And again, I just feel angry because now that I took testosterone, my sex drive is coming back, but it's also traumatic because in the morning I wake up thinking I have a boner, but I don't. And it's like I have to kind of like ration my orgasms because now that I got some of my sex drive back, sometimes I'll get horny and I want to masturbate, but then like I want to save that orgasm to share with a partner, but sometimes when I am with a partner, it's hard to orgasm. So because of my body dysmorphia, yeah, and all that, it's just like it's frustrating. I feel like I lost years of my life trying pretending to be a woman, and just like I was so brainwashed, thinking that I was a real woman. And now I woke up from my delusions and I realized I've done so much damage to my
Yeah.
body.
Let's
Yeah.
let's talk about that real quick because I think when you think of trans women, well,
Mm.
before we go to, you do identify as a trans woman, right?
No, I actually I dropped the trans label, as part of the trans. A few months ago, I went from trans to non-binary because I realized, like, oh shit, like, I'm not a woman. And I didn't know how to exist in society because obviously, like, I castrated myself and, like,
Okay.
so I was like, maybe I could exist within the new framework as non-binary person. And that's how I came online, like when my video was kind of breaking the internet in certain circles, like, but then some of my followers, they were like, oh, we have non-binary like nephews and non-binary nieces and they're like cutting off their breasts. And then I found out online that people were getting certain type of genitalia where like they were identifying as non-binary, but they were like keeping their penis, but creating a hole underneath the penis with like using scrotal tissue. So I just didn't want to be anymore online carrying any labels that could possibly influence people into like some body modification because I just feel like it's such a social contagion right now. And that's why I'm like, you know what, guys, I'm a man. Like, I identify as a man. But any pronoun is fine. Obviously, like, what I want to do with I don't know how much life I have left because I just found out that there's really no long term research on what, like, this surgery did to me, it, like, really deteriorated my mental health. And I honestly don't know what taking hormones will do to me in the long run, taking artificial hormones. I don't know how much lifetime I have left, and I think moving forward, I want to expand definition of a man, and socially, I'm a man, like online, I haven't changed my paperwork yet because I don't know if that will make sense for me because if I accidentally get arrested and thrown into jail with men, I'm obviously weaker. I don't have a penis. I have female lookalike genitals. And also, like, I'm scared to use male bathroom as well because I'm so feminine presenting.
Yeah.
And moving forward, I want to promote that, men can have breasts. I don't know why the whole trans community is pushing the whole, like, women can have penises thing. As somebody who had the surgery, I don't think it's the same. I know oftentimes we get lumped, all under the same umbrella. It's like at this point, trans activists have taken it so far that you don't need to do anything to identify as a trans woman. You can literally just throw on a wig and like sometimes people don't even do that. They just identify as they pretty much self ID themselves into the umbrella. And it's like it's not the same. Like I'm so much weaker than other, I guess, trans women that haven't taken any hormones, not planning to take any hormones, and that have a fully functional penis. It's not the same experience at all, and it's
Yeah.
just like, and also very few people get the surgery. I mean, obviously, like more people have been getting it now. There's like a 3-year waiting list for surgeries with surgeons that like at least one give you fistula. So it's been insane because it's covered by a lot of insurances now, so it's super easy to access. And after everything I've been through, I just don't think it's the answer. I feel like people should be offered a radical, like, they should be offered more mental health help before radical medical intervention. And unfortunately, in certain countries, in Canada, for example, at this point, it's almost illegal to try to offer like more help or try to explore if there's other ways to help those people who are thinking that they're stuck in the wrong body. Because then it's considered conversion therapy, and it's like it's just super insane. And I feel like everything usually starts in Canada and it sips over to like I live in New England, so I think when it sips over to New England and then sips over to the rest of the USA. So at this point, it's illegal to misgender somebody in Canada. So if you call somebody accidentally pronoun that they don't identify as, like you could be in trouble. And yeah, it's just insane. It's this gender ideology ruining families. Like it's ruined my family. Like when I came out as trans, my parents told me not to get the surgery. They were not accepting, so it drew me away from them. And now the rest of the family that was in the United States, they were supportive of me. But now that I'm detrans, I feel angry because I miss my penis, and I understand that I was an adult when I had it, when I had the surgery, but I feel like nobody even questioned me too much, and nobody even like tried to prevent me from like self harm, And I realized like I've lost an important part of who I really was. Like I'm a dude, and it's like I miss, my penis. I miss playing with it. I also my sexual preferences have changed, and now I realize things never felt right. They kind of was a conversion therapy. And I latched onto it because it converted a gay dude into like quote unquote heteronormative woman. But even sex never felt right. It's just like I'm still a gay dude. It's like I I would have liked to have a front hole that works, but now that my sexuality has changed, I go to the gym and I'm like, I want to top a guy and I can't, and
Yeah.
it's like,
So
it sucks.
yeah, let me ask you this. So you said you're a gay man or and identify as like non-binary now.
Yeah.
Um, would if you had a functional vagina, if you had a
Mhm.
functional vagina, would it have changed anything? Do you think that is it because you feel like you're missing out on sex that perhaps has changed your view? Uh,
Um.
and have you considered? Because I watched one of your videos as I was prepping for the interview.
Yeah. Yeah.
You talked about the tilapia surgery, right, where you can actually
Right.
get real depth and get a real, well, at least a functioning vagina, right?
Right. Yeah. 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 Well, I for years, like I started having complications right away, and for years I did think I was just a trans woman with complications, and I had like a lot of people reach out to me and talk about their complications. And that's when I started understanding that I was not alone. But none of those people were accounted in any type of studies or statistics. They were just kind of like living in the shadows like me. Because a lot of people, they want to, I mean, at least in my case, I just wanted to have surgery and just live stealth, what's called stealth. When you
Uh-huh.
just like live quietly, don't tell anybody you're trans, your neighbors, your friends, you just live quietly. So that's what I was doing. And like, I was just like not interacting with anybody. I moved to a new town, just like living my little life. Um, just selectively coming out to like new friends and things like that. But then as time went by, once I took testosterone, I realized it was more than that. It just I missed the energy. I missed how driven I was. I just realized that I wanted to emulate. I guess I wanted to present feminine, but I never will know what woman feels like. I guess I know I got pretty close, but I will never have like the full biological female experience. And I just hate being emotional. I hate not being able to sleep with someone without getting emotionally attached. So I
Mhm.
just hate the whole like, I guess a lot of people are like, well, you're not a woman. I guess I never became a woman. But once I lost my testosterone, I definitely miss being a dude. I miss being obsessed with sex and money and career because I feel like I could have done more with my life. Instead, I went into that whole like stereotypical feminine mode where I was like, oh, I'm gonna find a husband and get the white picket fence, and it was just such a stupid thing. Like I realized I could have given all that to myself had I just like, because my sex drive wasn't. It was more than sex drive. It was a part of my original blueprint. And it's like I was more driven. I was more fearless. Not having my testosterone just made me so anxious to the point where I couldn't even be alone. I always needed somebody around to kind of protect me. I felt
Mhm.
more vulnerable, and I still do. And it's like I just realized that I just didn't like what the surgery did to me. It was more than just like, yeah, of course I missed out on sex and everything, all these years, and I still gonna probably miss out for the rest of my life. One thing for sure, I mean, I'm not getting back my penis. Like everybody, I mean, it's like after I did that interview, it was very wide recently. I'm getting so many DMs. People like, I want to donate you my penis. I have like fans now. I'm like, that's not how it works. Like people saying, I think general public is just under impression that these surgeries have been done for years, so it's like a very low complication rate. It's not a big deal. Like it's actually there's a very high complication rate. It's way higher than people. I don't know exactly, but definitely like I know a lot of people that are not accounted in any kind of studies, and it's like that's why I just like I feel like I've been lied to because what I was told is sexual assignment surgery, but the reality is my sex is still male. Like to my bone, I'm XY. Like these are man boobs. It is the reality. And of course, like I'm hoping still to at least to eventually fix my front hole And I was like, when I still thought I was a trans woman with complications, I was trying to find solutions. You know, I've flown across the country. I was trying to push for like community to realize that like we need better tissues, better technologies. I was like proponent of this tilapia thing to like to I was willing to be like I was guinea pig anyways. I was like trying to find a surgeon who could like do this tilapia surgery on me, you know. But the truth of the matter, none of the surgeries are really tested long term. You know, even if I found somebody to give me a tilapia lining, it's really not proven if it would stay in the long run. But also because I had so many revisions, I had like penile inversion, like multiple revisions after that, colon vaginoplasty, like it's like at this point, like nobody can really help me because any further revisions may give me a colostomy bag. And after hearing horror stories, like my situation is not that bad. Like I'm on Discord with other trans men, and some of them can't pee, some of them have no sensation. I can still orgasm. It's just not the same. Like it's hard, but I can. Like so, thank God I can still experience orgasm. But I have a back pain in my back every day as a reminder of my stupidity from osteoporosis. And again, like I have to take hormones every day. And if I people are like, oh, stop taking hormones, blah blah blah. It's like I already did that. Like I had osteoporosis. Like I'm gonna get more brittle and just like my spine gonna hunch even more. Scoliosis will get worse. So I'm medical patient for the rest of my life. And testosterone is so expensive. Right now, like this gel is like 135 bucks a month. Um, it's always on backlog. I have to show my ID to get it. It's a controlled substance, something my testicles are naturally producing. Now I have to pay for the rest of my life. And I just really feel exhausted. It's just like they medicalize me instead of the truth of the matter. And like even through all the surgeries, I never felt at home in my own body. It was up until later I realized I had body dysmorphia. I still don't feel sexy. People online tell me that I look hot, but I only feel hot like 20% of the time. Sometimes if I like put some makeup on or look cute, you know, we'll take a picture under a certain angle. I feel sexy. But sometimes when I do have sex or whatever, it's like I don't feel sexy, you know, and it sucks that after everything I put myself through, it was a software issue, and I kept on modifying my hardware, just damaging myself, and it just didn't get me anywhere. You know what I mean? I realized I had a lot of trauma, and it's kind of caused me to like check out of my masculinity, you know, out of my manhood. I
Yeah.
think the whole like gender ideology I realized it's just stupid. I feel like gender critical, but also I'm like part of against gender critical movement to an extent. I personally would like to abolish stereotypes. You know, the whole transition is just stupid. It's perpetuating more like gender stereotypes that are damaging to everyone. If all like feminine boys transitions, and honestly, again, masculinity equals super masculine. You know what I mean? It's like it would be better if we just all went back to being man and woman and wear whatever we want.
Right.
Because right now people are like, oh, why are you not detransitioning? So what they really mean by that is why the fuck do I still have long hair and makeup on? Which is like, why the hell not? Because men can wear makeup and have long hair, and I feel like it's not very futuristic and we're sexing clothing and makeup. Because the future that I see in my head, I see a type of the future that we could see like in Hunger Games, let's say. Remember in the capital, men would wear wigs and have like makeup on.
Yeah.
So be men, you know what I mean? It's like yeah, so I just got tired of like always trying to pass, you know, always trying to be this woman, and I just got exhausted. And everybody, the last 10 years, I literally chopped off my dick trying to prove, like, I guess to myself and everyone that I was a real woman and not a gay dude, you know? And I realized in the end, it's like a full circle moment. I realized I'm just like a gay man who was just trying to fit in society and trying to move up the ladder and find my niche market and self ID myself out of just being the feminine gay man, which is like bottom of the barrel in society, you know. And it's like that's the reality, and it's hard pill to swallow. Yeah, it
But
sucks
you
kind of.
answered the question I had, and it's a really good answer because I really hadn't thought about it that way. But when because you were saying, I'm a gay man and not binary, but you still look like a woman. I mean, I look at
I
you and
look.
I see like a woman, right? But the point that you make is a really good one, which is,
Mhm.
to you, it doesn't matter what you wear, right? It's like, it's not
Yeah,
about conforming, to looking, like a traditional, masculine
right,
or whatever. It's just wearing what you want to wear and,
right,
just feel like a gay man on the inside, I guess.
right. I guess. I mean, I look like a type of woman because women come in different shapes and sizes. That's
Yes.
what I realized. I sometimes when people transition, I think I shapeshifted into what man thinks woman is. That's why like I wanted to be a bimbo. I just wanted to be. I turned off my brain and like I didn't purposely also turn it off. I think losing my testosterone as a man, like a fog came over my brain. I was very lethargic, no drive to do anything, to accomplish anything, And I just honestly, I just shapeshifted into like a bleach blonde bimbo, like I guess what I thought men would be attracted to. That was a version of like what men would, I guess, average men. I'm not saying some men are attracted to masculine women and whatnot. Everybody has different preferences, but I thought like majority of men would be attracted to somebody, who like I guess portrays my version of a woman. It's like, and I realized I was really perpetuating stereotypes. I was literally because of I guess people like me. A lot of women probably want to check out of their femininity. You know what I mean? Because they maybe don't want to wear makeup and they want to present more masculine, and maybe they can be like, well, I guess I'll never look like what 80% of men want, so they may want to also transition to men. So it's like I think it will just be healthier, if like that would be a more feminine man who like have longer hair and makeup, and then future generation won't feel like they need to pop hormones and do surgeries. In general, I don't endorse any surgeries. Like I obviously had facial surgeries and breast surgery, and obviously my whole body's man-made, but I don't recommend it because I regret it. I even regret breast surgery. I already had small titties. I should have just kept them, because every time you cut into your body, you just don't know what the outcome is. It's
Mhm.
all the beauty standards change. I may look like a woman right now or whatever, but like we don't know what most women will look like, what the fashion will be like 100 years from now, or
Right.
if even 10 years from now. Because right now, big asses are popular, big titties, but maybe in 10 years nobody will care for it, And I hope not, because it's honestly social media fucked everybody up because we're all comparing ourselves to people online, whether it's outwardly or like just seeing how other people live their life on social media. It's like it's really toxic always trying to live up to those beauty standards or lifestyle standards. I think that's what making us unhappy and pushing like a lot of people into body modifications and living unhappy life. It's like so yeah, I mean, I may still look like a woman, and honestly, it is. I'm feeling reverse dysphoria right now because, when I thought I was trans, I was feeling like a woman trapped in a man's body, and I was like, but now I'm feeling like, oh shit, like I'm a man. But I also know that I will never be. This is what I did to myself as irreversible. I can never go back. Could I cut off my hair? Yes. Could I like try to present as a stereotypical man? I could, but I'm naturally feminine. So it's like
Mm.
some men that I know did that, but I feel like I just don't want to spend again the rest of my life trying to adhere to certain stereotype of a man because I feel like that's what pushed me to transition in the first place because I was so feminine. Literally, when I was a kid, my dad told me that like, "Oh, you're so feminine, you're so emotional, like you'll never be a real man." So obviously, like that fucks with my brain, and I feel like hopefully, moving forward, instead of like Leah Thomas, let's take Leah Thomas' situation, right? I feel like it would have been badass if she wore that one piece and competed with men. You know what I mean? If she kept her testosterone, lasered off her face instead of taking hormones, trying to have smoother body, like, and competed with men and showed a different type of man, who wants to maybe have longer hair and wear a one piece. Like, I just don't understand why. Like, I don't understand myself either because I was like on the other side of things, and I was fighting if what like that person is the link you sent me, I forgot that person's name, sorry. If I heard her speech saying that even if you have the bottom surgery, you're still a man, if I heard that like a few months ago, I was like, oh my god, that is so transphobic. But
Mhm.
now I agree with that person. I mean, no matter what I did to my body, it's like I didn't become a woman. You know, I was still just like a castrated man, and like if I was meant to be a woman, you know, my body wouldn't be treating it as a wound, whatever they gave me, and constantly trying to shut down. You know, it was just such a hill battle against like my biology and society. You know, it's just like trying to
Yeah.
prove everyone that I'm a real woman, and just to come to conclusions that I'm not.
Well,
And
how
again,
many do
yeah,
you know the statistics of how many trans women detrans or decide that, hey, maybe this wasn't a good idea, that they have second thoughts and they reverse, they wanna
I don't
reverse.
know. The official narrative from trans community is 1%, and that 1% kind of they're saying that like complication rate from surgeries and regret of transition is 1%, and they say that most of that 1% is pressure from society. And a
Mm,
lot of criticism, I guess, that people are still saying that I'm not a real trans and I'm just a trans woman who got battered by a recent transphobia, uptick in transphobia. But I honestly don't think so. I feel like, um, first of all, I think percentage is way higher, but we don't know how much exactly because, as I said, every trans man and woman that I know, none of the, at least in my case, nobody who gave me like surgeries and like letters for the surgeries, nobody ever checked on me if I'm dead, alive, like how am I doing. So it's like, I know I can't like give you exact number, but it's definitely higher than trans community would want it to believe, and it's gonna keep on going higher and higher as more men and women wake up and realize they've been duped, and none of this medical transition especially solved any issues. Because when I woke up from surgery and after everything I went through, my mental issues are still there. I'm in therapy every week trying to solve them. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
that feeling uncomfortable in my own body, not feeling like I fit in society, still feeling shy and still feeling like reserved and still feeling like I don't belong. That feeling never went away. Like I'm still working on it, you know. But now on top of that, I have health issues, like actual physical health issues. My any confidence I have got destroyed with stupid surgeries. It's very hard for me to connect with somebody else. I still have sex, you know, but it's just like it would have been way better if I still had because I still the only sex kind of sex I can have is anal sex, you know. So I might as well would have kept my penis. Plus, I miss being a dude and being more visual, you know. I'll have a hot guy in front of me, and I'll have like a, you know, and I would still like. I think after losing my testosterone, it just I became more like overall like touchy feely emotional. I just miss being like, wow, like there's a hot dude in front of me, like I'm about to get fucked or something. Like I miss that excitement, and I feel like I just back online maybe like 20-30%. Like it will never be full where it was, you know. And I don't think a lot of it. I mean, yes, I had the full surgery, but I talked to other trans men who just like took hormones for a few years, and they permanently like lost their original sex drive. Granted,
Mhm.
they're older now, but like some of them, you know, had genitals that shrank, and even though they stopped taking testosterone and stopped taking estrogen and blockers, you can get back if you took it for too long. You know, you kind of semi-permanently castrated yourself. You know, so I mean, yeah. The only happy transitioners I personally know are people who did not get the bottom surgery. I mean, then yeah, sure. I mean, then you kind of have your still male sex drive. I mean, granted, some people have their dicks, but they're still like taking estrogen, so it depends on case by case basis. But I
Mhm.
think yeah, a lot of people that I know that transition around the same time, they're kind of like enjoying trans label, you know, jerking off on OnlyFans for $6.99 a month and making a killing and like so catering towards homophobic men who want them to be labeled as women so they feel less bad about being attracted to a dick attached to somebody feminine with titties and sometimes even with no titties, you know. So it's like that's the happy transition is, you know, kind of that I know. I mean, obviously everybody's different, you know, and but I wasn't part of like trans community that much because I had my surgery that kind of went living self, you know. I was not really interacting with anybody. When I got back online 4 years ago and I posted a video about my complications, that's when I got more of a community of other trans women who had complications. And a lot of them had it really bad because some of them did have colostomy bags. Some of them had fistulas. It was really bad. Like honestly, but they were still convinced that they were women that just got handed a bad card, you know. But after being through the system and doing more research, once I woke up from my delusions, I realized that like we're being experimented on. Like honestly, we are, and like that's what general public doesn't realize. Even with those comments, people trying to donate me their like body parts, people don't understand that's not how any of this works. They've been doing this primitive penile inversion surgery for years. Recently, they started like using peritoneum pull-through method, where they use like a part of your like stomach lining to create like better like lining to create a vagina. But
Mhm.
it's like a hottest surgery right now. That only started in 2018. So again, there's like no long-term data. Just like this Pilates, and this has been done more than Pilates. Pilates, there's only like anecdotal examples from Brazil. Like nobody has done it in Europe or North America yet. But I know a person who had the peritoneal pull-through in New York City, and her vagina shut down like 2 or 3 times, and now she's looking into colon vaginoplasty. I had that done, and that doesn't work either. So it's just a circle jerk. People get complications. I think I am homosexual, transsexual. That's what I used to be. You know, I was a gay man, transitioned. You know, there's a lot of straight men that transition to be a woman. You know, such as what's her name, Crystal Jenner. I forgot. What's the
Caitlyn,
Jenner?
Caitlyn
Who's
Jenner.
yeah, Caitlyn Jenner. Crystal Jenner. Oh my god.
Let's not talk about Caitlyn Jenner.
Crystal Jenner. Crystal Jenner.
Just
Okay,
because she's a Republican. No,
yeah,
we
it's
can
like
have this conversation
so
another.
I feel yeah, I know, but I feel like a lot of people that had complications. I think the main complication is not being able to maintain adequate vaginal depths because your body treats it as a wound and it's trying to shut down. So those of us who are started as homosexual men who are attracted to other men and want to get fucked, like vaginal quote unquote depths is hard to come by in post-op trans community. So that's what I've learned, you know, being part of that community for the last few years. Before I was like, fuck this all and I detransitioned, or at
Mhm.
least like drop the trans label because I'm like, I just can't do this anymore. And it's just like when I saw Leah Thomas in that picture standing next to a woman and one woman was like this, like it was just like I was embarrassed. So like that's it. I cannot stand for this because I'm just not gonna. I hated the fact that I had to carry trans label till the rest of my life, and I knew at that point that I was not a woman. So that's when I came out as non-binary, but then I dropped non-binary label as well. But after all this, it's just kind of hard for me. Like my anxiety right now is high because even going out in real life, you know, I want to tell people that I'm a man, but I'm 5'1", you know, I'm weak. And I don't know what people's reactions will be. What if they want to punch me, you know, or like, so I'm kind of still scared, you know, and like, I'm like, obviously, I will never be able to lose sales because I'm online, like, and people know me now. So I'm just trying to navigate my real life. You know, I told some friends, and my family knows they're very confused because just like you, they're like, you look like a woman. And I'm like, but guys, I'm not a woman, you know? So people are so confused. Even my fiance treats me like a woman, buys me flowers, opens the door for me, you know? So I don't mind that, you know? But it's like, I guess most of it is sexual as well. Like I really miss, you know, my sex drive, my full male sex drive, because it is very powerful and like I will never get it back.
What is what's the process for detransition? Is it just taking testosterone or is there more?
For everybody, it's different. It's just like transition, you know. It's like nowadays, if somebody declares themselves a woman, people just give them trans flag and they're like, "Yay, welcome to womanhood!" And they're like, "You don't need to do anything. You're as valid as every other woman." You know, it's like so fucking stupid. So in the trans community, like it's still kind of fresh. Like we're still kind of like setting it all up, you know. So when
Yeah.
I initially came out as the trans, maybe like 6 weeks ago, I kind of got thrown into the spotlight right away. I don't know why people just like got thrown into the spotlight, you know, and like I ended up getting all those like, platforms and publicity that I did not expect. So initially, you know, I had one be trans man. We're friends now, but at the time, he was like, "Well, you're still doing the trans thing. Like, why are you still like?" I'm like, "What is a trans thing?" You know, like so again, I had to kind of explain to people that like I'm a man. Like the whole transition was stupid because like I tried to think like, at what point did I become a woman? Was it when I declared myself? Was it was I always a woman, just born in the wrong body? Because there was a moment in time when I saw that I was just like a woman from childhood. Just society didn't see me as one. Was it when I took the first pill? Was it when I had the surgery? And when I woke up from my delusion, I realized at no point was I a woman. So I don't need to do anything to be a man. Like I know I'm a man. Whether I want to like have people perceive me more as a man, it's up to me. And I'm still trying to figure it out. And the truth of the matter, I enjoy presenting feminine. If anything, we learn from this social experiment called like transgenderism. There's a lot of men who like presenting feminine, apparently, or wearing
Yeah.
clothing that's like now is considered feminine. I don't think that's going to change, you know? What I'm trying to raise awareness for is that like gender surgeries I don't think are necessary or definitely should not be performed on children or even people under 25 because especially in males like the brain is not fully formed until like later in life. Like I was not aware what I was doing to myself like till a few years went by. You
It's
know,
something
so
you bring up a really good point because there's this conversation going on right now, and it's something I wanted to ask you about
okay.
when kids should transition, or if their parents should actually consider gender reassignment surgery or getting them on hormones really early. Do you not do you support any of that?
No, no, absolutely not. I don't think anybody under 18. I've learned something that there was nothing wrong with my original blueprint. You know, it's like it takes time to just grow as a human being and just realize how this reality works. Because there's no way, like under 18, you can know what you want. You know, you may
Right.
want to present outwardly feminine, but there's no way, like little boy, could know what being an actual biological woman feels like. I did not know what it would feel like to lose all my energy for good, you know, to lose my drive, you know, to be so emotional, so dependent on other people, like kind of, I'm not saying that that's what every woman feels, but that's at least how I felt, and I feel like, yeah, no freaking way. That's what I'm advocating against. That like child transition is not okay. Don't, like again, like I've said that in other interviews. Like those people who are holding a sign like protect trans kids, you know, at the LGBTQ pride. Like you guys even know a trans kid who lived like 20, 30, 40 years and be like, oh my god, like I'm so glad like my parents blocked my puberty and gave me a micro penis and like I never knew what orgasm feels like. Because actually, like head of like WPAS, the organization that sets standards for transgender care, they just like made a statement that boys that took like puberty blockers and had the surgery, they will never know what orgasm is like because they never had testosterone in their body. So
Hmm.
how is that? How are you putting like? How are you like? How's that authentic human experience? Like how are you like? How do you dare to say that you're helping kids to be authentic self when they'll never experience an orgasm?
And
I
that's
mean,
not.
especially for boys, we have
Yeah.
oxytocin released after orgasm, whether it's masturbation. The reason I was depressed for so many years because I got used to masturbating so much. I was in my prime when I got my dick cut off. So it's like it's part of male experience in a way. I feel like I may not be every male experience, but a lot of men are very sexual. You know, they're not like women, not like average women. You know, it's like again, I'm trying to say like it's all in general. You know, I'm sure there's outliers no matter what I say. You know,
Yeah.
and it's
Well,
like
we know for sure that sex is really good for your mental health, right? And I think
exactly.
that's what you're saying is that, if these kids will never experience an orgasm when they're adults, then, what can they experience, or what can they expect in the future,
Yeah,
right?
this sucks. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's one of those things that goes back to that tweet you sent about what you could or couldn't say on Twitter without
Hmm.
being threatened to getting getting blocked. And I feel like it's the same thing with, and obviously you know way more about the subject than I do because I only
Hmm.
read headlines and that's about it. But if you say, well, maybe it's not a good idea for kids to transition, there's like, well, they'll just go off on you. And but I understand that the parents should make a decision, and I agree with that. It's the responsibility of the parents. But if they don't have all the information they need, right? If
Right.
getting one side of the information and not the other side.
Honestly, it's been hard with every subject in our world, I feel like, because no matter what side you're on of different issues, there's always like seems like so much contradicting information and form of like always there's some biases thrown in. I think it's just like as humans we tend to be biased no matter what side we take. And I think it's just hard for people to sift through, you know. But there's definitely like as there's a high wave of detransitioners, you know, it will definitely be more of a spotlight. Right now we're being ignored, like mainstream just ignores us, you know. Yes, I've gotten a lot of publicity, but it's still very much within trans bubble, you know. But as we get more mainstream publicity, not just by right wing media, but also by left, you know, hopefully there'll be raise more awareness so people like, okay, at least people may not see me as a real D-trans, but one thing for sure, transition did not make me happy. It ruined my sex life. You know, it's like it ruined my health, like actual physical health. It's almost every day I feel like I'm living a nightmare. It's like some kind of bad acid trip I'm gonna wake up from. But this is my reality. It's just kind of hard to realize that like I did this to myself. So and like I wish honestly my family protected me and like I mean obviously I don't think there was much they could have done because I was 18 plus, but I definitely needed more mental health help and now I also like everything I've been through. I just feel like a lot of it's a trans is umbrella term, you know. And I'm not saying there's no true trans out there, but there should definitely be a stricter definition. The current model is extremely dangerous. Like a lot of people are gonna get hurt. It's too easy to get on hormones and surgeries, you know. Like there needs to be more definitions other than like, oh, I feel like a girl or like, I feel like a boy because what does it mean? What does it mean I feel like a boy? Do you want to present more masculine? That's fine. Like, but you
Well, and
like
it could be too at
yeah,
the moment, right? Which is,
exactly.
especially if it's younger people, it's like, or
Yeah,
younger kids and teenagers, it'll be like, oh, well, I'm feeling this sort of way, now, but things change, and
exactly.
if it's something that cannot be reversed, like a surgery,
Right,
then, you're like, oh, now I can't
right.
detrans fully,
Yeah,
I
I
guess.
know. Yeah,
Yeah.
like to be honest, that you're right because feelings do change how you feel in the moment. One thing doesn't change is the reality and like biology. Unfortunately, right now is immutable. I mean, like back to your question, like I said, I didn't answer. I would have been happy, I guess, happier had I had like a functioning like tunnel. Obviously, I would still hope that one day I can still spread my legs and get aft, but that's not gonna change the fact that I'm a man to every cell of my body. As far as I know, I mean, I never had like a hormone check, but I'm pretty sure I am. Like, so yeah. I mean, I'm more likely to be able to eventually get fix my tunnel than to get a fully functional penis back. I
Yeah.
mean, granted, like maybe in 10, 20 years, I'll be able to maybe regrow a penis from little cells that I have left. But the whole erectile tissue has been removed as far as I know. So I don't know if there's any like erectile tissue left to grow like stem cells out of, you know. And people think, oh, you can just go back and get because they see, you know, F2Ms, you know, get phalloplasty all the time. And they're like, not a big deal, go just grow the penis. That's not how it works. Phalloplasty is even more complication rate. There's almost like 68% complication rate. Like there's so many trans men that have so many complications, and it's not the same thing. It's like multiple surgeries with implants, with like fake balls. You know, it's like it will never be the same. Like people just don't understand that. Like general population is just so ignorant. The people that are supportive of trans things, they don't know that the surgeries are very like primitive in a way. Like they should have done a way. Can you believe it? Like at the time where people get bionic arms and bionic legs, they
Yeah.
couldn't even give me a tunnel, just a simple tunnel that they or they didn't. They don't even have biocompatible tissues to work with. You literally have to harvest it from other parts of your body, and that's very suboptimal. You know, it's like I think mostly because genitals are still very like taboo subject, and that's why we're kind of still in dark ages, despite what people may think. You know,
Right.
it's like yeah, and the whole tilapia vagina was created in Brazil because they have, I guess, less stricter rules to experiment. I guess on people we're being experimented on here as well. And like honestly, like after everything I've been through, I feel like this is gonna go down. It's gonna be a huge medical scandal as more people talk out about their complications and how things went down for them. So Yeah, there's no way they should be offering this to young children. And also, the only trans kid that's in the public eye with surgery is I Am Jazz. It's like a reality show. There's this trans
Oh yeah.
kid, and yeah, yeah. So Jazz had multiple like revisions, and she's gained a lot of weight since. I don't think that person was healthier, happy in my opinion, and a lot of people. And I know like the team of those surgeons that did surgery on her, like they did surgery on a few people that I know, and like some of them also. I mean, again, I shouldn't probably say that because I'm getting really trouble, but let's just say I know from people telling me that, oh, you just like had a back surgeon or whatnot, but I know complications from every surgeon in America pretty much.
Oh
So
wow.
it's like a circle jerk. They're all getting revisions with each other. It's like it's BS. Some of the best results I know are from Thailand. I don't know why, but like again, those are anecdotal examples. I've never seen anybody show me their results. Shove a dildo inside of themselves so I could see how much depth they have. It's like dudes. Dudes never admit they have a small dick. So those bitches are not being honest. They're just like, oh my god, I have 9 inch. Like I don't know if they really have 9 inch depth. Exactly. So who like it's all just like and it's a sunk cost fallacy. When you save up for a car, and it's like you buy that car with all your savings and you can't go back, you're never gonna admit that this car is shit. So of course you're gonna say it's like a decent car. And I did that for years, and I was trying to justify it in my mind. It was like a sunk cost fallacy. And that's the reality. That's why it's very hard to come by like a real, honest examples and results. So that's what we're dealing with in trans community, at least on M2F spectrum that I was on, from male to female. So yeah, that's the story.
It's a lot going on. It's I didn't know that, all these trans people were having complications with, surgeries and stuff.
A lot
And
of them are.
yeah, and you bring up a good point is that, science is so advanced now with like you said, they're making robots and bionic arms and everything else, and they seem
Right,
to not be able to get those surgeries right, especially like, we talked about before, right? They're not reversible. So, once they fuck it up, it's done.
right. And
There's no
also,
there's no turning back.
yeah, once it's fucked up and you get one revision, second, like people don't want to work on other people's work because they don't want to attach their name to a complicated case. I was also
Mhm.
lied to because I'm 5'1", so I'm pretty small. And upon sort of fourth division, I've been told that like, oh, like you're one of the smallest people worked on, so it's like you don't have that much space in you to start with, so you were more prone to complications. But that would have been nice to know ahead of time. The
Right.
surgeons actually don't care for us. For them, we're just a cash cow in no tickets, because they're never gonna like talk about like bad complications or give us like as they will always try to be like to brush off it's like not a big deal, you're gonna be fine, but honestly, like again, I don't think a lot of people are really getting the full picture of what they're getting themselves into. It's like I don't know, it's like I wish I could take it back, and sometimes I'm like meditating and I feel like it's all just like in my mind, and I'm gonna wake up and I still have my whole life ahead of me to make decisions in my original body, but I don't, and it's like I don't know. So this is the situation I'm in. And back to your point, the transition is going to look everyone different for everyone. Some people that I know, even though they don't have penis anymore, they cut their hair short, change their name legally back to male, and they're back online trying to like date other gay men, for example. But it's very difficult because a lot of gay men they love dick, and it's like
Yeah.
it's like how do you even date now? You know what I mean? You look like a dude, and you have, and a lot of them also they have complications like me. Some of them can't have sex really comfortably. So it's rough. It's harsh. I'm lucky that I have a fiance and like and I'm in polyamorous relationships. I still date once in a while other people. So I'm lucky I can still like get dates and stuff, but a lot of people, it's hard for them. They can't even orgasm, it's like I can at least still orgasm for better or for worse. It's just hard. So a lot of people have it way worse and this was just not worth it. Their lives are ruined kind of and we support each other, but every day is hard. And that's all I have to say. It's like I wish there were more safeguards to protect people. from themselves, because a lot of those people were going through things in life like I was, and they weren't thinking clearly when they signed up on those papers, despite being adults.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's like, again, it never worked out the way I imagined it in my head. I sacrificed my fully functional penis pretty much at the time for, female lookalike genitals. They gave me like a caricature of female genitals.
Yeah. Really.
It's,
Well, hang in there. I'm sure things will get better. As we said, science is advancing by the second, so you never know what could be around the corner a year from now, and could make your situation a lot better. So
yeah, and some of boys that I know, they want to remove their breasts, but now they've been kind of blacklisted by trans surgeons because they don't want to work. A lot of people don't want to deal with the trans people.
yeah,
It's like, and we don't. I don't even know if insurance will cover my breast removal. Like, I can't have them forever. So it's like I know some people, they're saving money to remove their breasts now. And the truth of the matter, like, they're still gonna have a scar there. Like, so it's like we're not getting back our original bodies no matter what. So the transition looks different for everyone. To me, this is it. My detransition is just socially finally being like, guys, for years you've been telling me I'm a dude. I am a dude. You win. It's like you guys were right. I was delusional. That's as far as I'm taking my detransition. And hormonally, I'm trying to get testosterone back in my body. I'm just hoping that Java works out and won't give me allergic reaction in the long run. If that doesn't work out, the next option is pellets. Because that means every 6 months I'm gonna have to go to an endocrinologist and pay like $700 to have a little thing implanted in me, and every time they'll have to cut in a new place, leaving me with like tiny scars. So that sucks. And if like that happens, I don't know if I'm ready to do that. And if Joe gives me a reaction, then I can kiss goodbye my little sex drive that I got. And I
right,
kiss goodbye the little energy I got back. It was so difficult to keep up in the gym with as a woman. Now at least I can do well in the gym. But if I can't keep on taking testosterone, it will go back to being super lethargic. It's like, and I won't be interested in dick. I'm gonna be
yeah,
so sad.
okay,
It's like sometimes I forget like I live as a man. It's like but I think I know why there's a high divorce rate, but that's like a whole other subject.
understood. But do you normally? I guess you attract straight men, right? I mean, is
I
that the
guess now it's difficult today because I am. I guess they are. Some it depends what ideology you go by. If you go by trans ideology, I feel like one thing I've learned from all this, I think masculinity is usually attracted to femininity, and that's what I'm gonna say. I think it's not so much about labels.
Mhm.
According to some people, even people who know, like, I mean, people that I date now, they know like that I am a man. But in their mind, I think they still perceive me as a woman, because I am very feminine presenting. So it's all up for the debate. For some people who are like, don't erase definition of homosexuality because it's homophobic, like you're a man, and the minute you lay with another man, that's gay. It doesn't matter,
Right.
what you've done to your body. And for years I was like, I'm a woman, being sexism is not gay, but now I'm just like, I'm realizing that I am a man. But also I realized like the truth doesn't matter. A lot of gay guys, again, they like this. I don't have one. They're attracted on average to masculinity. So it's like the ideologies that I am part of, just by default right now, is that would be considered gay. And honestly, I want to because I feel like a lot of people ID themselves out of gay sex because it's considered like a low level, like the most gross sex you could have. So I kind of want to bring it back and be like, make people go gay for me. But the truth of the matter, like I'm still, I guess, getting men who are very much attracted to femininity. And it's like, and I enjoy it, but it's not going to change the fact that I am a dude. And it's like, it just finally feels good to say that because for years I was denying it. Even people who were like, I love you no matter what, if you're a guy, like, oh, like, I'm not a guy. Yeah, it's like, and now I'm like, it feels good to finally say that. And it's kind of, in a way, it's a fuck you to entire society because I'm sick and tired of it. It's just like, I feel like I think with school approach on the whole transgender thing with this generation, I just hope the next generation does better. And I feel like it's important to me to vocalize that I am a man. And if some boys want to present feminine and grow out hair, whatever, do makeup, block out their 5 o'clock shadow, or laser their face, that's
Right.
fine. I just don't encourage to take hormones because it is a slippery slope. Because I was fine with my dick up until I started taking hormones. Then I started hating my dick. I was like, I didn't want anybody looking at it or touching it. It's like it caused me bottom dysphoria, so that's why it pushed me kind of into surgery, among other things. So that's why when people say, "Oh, just try hormones, see how you feel," like it's not a joke. And on the other spectrum, testosterone is a controlled substance for a reason because it's very powerful. It's way more powerful than estrogen. So when women take it, they're gonna feel better because it has antidepressive properties.
Hmm.
So that's one thing people don't tell you. That's why there is a high number of F2Ms right now because a lot of women that will take testosterone, it makes them feel better, because they think that it's the right uh, thing for them. But in the long run, testosterone in the female body can have all kinds of issues. Vagina can shut down. It could be infections. One of the famous F2Ms, Buck Angel, who's a porn star, he almost died from taking testosterone for 30 years. Thankfully, they were able to save him, but I forgot what exactly his issue was, but you guys can Google it. Like they ended up in a hospital because of being a female that was taking testosterone for 30 years. So all the stories just coming out now with this, like, with this cross-sex hormone does to people. So it's extremely dangerous. It's just not worth it. Um, I mean, that's all I have to say from my experience. I know that a lot of people are gonna claim that everything worked out for them, like good for them. But again, it's very they need to hear sad stories too to make a better decision. People who are planning to transition or have loved ones who want to transition.
Yeah. Do you think, because something you said earlier caught my attention is that, your
Mhm.
sexuality, your preferences, who you're attracted to,
Yes,
it's
it
changed over
changes. Yeah, it changes because
Do you think
I.
it's gonna be do you think you're gonna change your mind? So let's say right now you identify, as a gay man, non-binary. Do you think in
Yeah.
10 years or 8 years perhaps you'll be like, "Okay, I wanna transition, I wanna be a trans woman again." Do you think you'll come
Um,
back or
it's
no?
possible because I have borderline personality disorder, but I
Okay.
will no, I will never I don't think it makes sense for me because after what happened to me, I know for sure this was not the right decision for me, and it's very dangerous to amputate healthy genitals and healthy body parts. It's completely like not healthy. So I will never identify as a trans woman. I might rather be a dude or a freak of nature than be a trans woman because at this point I realize how much damage it's doing to women's sports. I mean, it just became this umbrella term. Trans at this point doesn't make sense because literally anybody can be trans. The trans activists have ruined it because they're literally saying at this point you don't need to bring gender dysphoria, whatever that means, to be trans. So literally anybody can be trans. And what does it even mean? What does transition mean? Because okay, like let's say somebody came out as trans, right? So is it like let's say they're starting to transition. So what does that mean? Are they gonna grow out their hair? Because dudes can have long hair. Are they gonna laser their face? Like I know a lot of gay dudes that are not transitioning and they don't like facial hairs.
Implants.
Yeah,
Implants.
like I guess breast implants. I mean, I want to promote that. I mean, some guys, you know, I like chubby guys, so a lot of dudes I dated, I am attracted to like male version of BBWs, I guess BBMs, big beautiful men. So they have tits bigger than me. Granted, they're like bigger men. They're not 5'1", obviously, but their titties are bigger than mine, and I feel like moving forward, I do want to promote that. And a lot of men are very conscious about they don't want to have breasts because, stereotypically people think that males should have like be flat. But a lot of men that I know have titties, and they do play with their nipples and shit, despite being, I guess, don't wanting to transition as they look like men, identify as men, but they like their nipples. So I do want to moving forward promote that men can have breasts. Eventually I'll have to remove mine, but there's nothing wrong with having little titties. And again, to get titties, like I didn't need to have any letters. It's the bottom surgeries that fucked me up. It's like that's the one places that when I went to have mental health professionals and they diagnosed me with gender dysphoria and just like gave me like green light to get the surgery, that ruined my life. It's like looking back at it, like how the fuck they didn't like tackle like other issues that I had, like I'm a neurodivergent system, like all those other issues that could have been like addressed first, or body dysmorphia before like thinking that like this will help me, and make my life better. So I think I'm not against people presenting whichever way they want as the general surgery that needs more investigation, before being deemed as safe and medically necessary. That's where I'm at, and it's like, so yeah.
Wow. Well, I want to thank you. We've been
Of
chatting for so
course,
long. It's been a great conversation.
I know.
I'm glad you took the time, to talk to me. I really appreciate it. I know you've been busy.
Yes, of course.
Um,
Yeah, it's been
well,
insane.
you've been busy going viral on Twitter and, and YouTube.
I know. I have a lot of people reaching out to me and they're expecting me to solve their issues. They're like, oh, I don't want to transition, but I'm a feminine man. What do I do? And it's like, it's overwhelming. I have parents reaching out to me because they're being blocked by their kids for being transphobic and kids like transitioning on their own. It's very tragic. I just don't know if I can help all those people. It's draining because I feel so exhausted from life after everything I've been through. It's like
Yeah.
I see therapists every week, so my mental health is overplayed. On one hand, I feel happy that I can help other people. On the other hand, I feel exhausted, but I'm still hanging in there and I'm trying to. I know that if I killed myself, like I would not be included in any statistics, and and that's sad, like, and that's why I need to keeping on and spread the message so people can do better and have better information or have at least alternative views of what happened. People say that I'm transition goals, that I look pretty or whatnot, but it's like it wasn't worth losing my male parts over this. You know what I mean? It's like I would have much rather had male boldness or whatnot, but at least have my male sector. I could have just worn a wig. I just really miss it, and yeah, so that's
And I
my story.
wonder, I'm not a psychologist, but, I wonder if that has a lot to do with, what you're going through is because, like you said, you miss your male parts
I
and
do, yeah,
you miss having an orgasm like a normal one.
yeah,
Uh, and just from I remember on that show Pose. I'm sure you watched it, Pose with the trans women on FX,
mm. I don't know,
where
I don't think so.
yeah,
What
they
happened?
they talked about how a lot of the men that prefer to be with trans women, they
Mm.
prefer to be with women who have their male parts. Or
Yeah, there's subdivision of gay bisexual guys. That's the thing though. Yeah, they're like, oh, we're straight, but like, you guys are obsessed with dick. I mean,
but
when I
do you think
yeah.
they're happier though, like those trans women, because they have, the parts? Is it? I guess the question I'm asking is the ones that have regrets, right? Is it the ones that had the surgery, the sex reassignment surgery, or
um I know some men that detransitioned and they still have their parts, but because they took estrogen, as I said, their full male sex drive did not come back, even though they have
oh,
testicles and everything. In terms of that, yes, because I lost my dating pool once I had the surgery. So I assume the ones that keep their parts are also happier because there's just higher demand for them. A lot of younger trans women are in sex work, so that's what sells. So of course, and also even if they are not in sex work, you're just like if I had my dick right now, I would Chinese chasers would be like chasing me down because yeah, I mean they're obsessed with dick. When I had my dick, everybody like it doesn't matter how feminine you are, functionality for Chinese chasers is more important than looks. So it's not like I want to just put a message out there. So like don't cut off your male parts because there'll be people who will accept you, even if you're not super feminine because you still have testosterone. Tranny chasers, they care more about your functionality because most of them want to get fucked up their ass and they want to suck dick. So that's the reality. They may be straight, but they really wanna the dick is what they're after. So
yeah,
yeah, and
but it's more. So they're basically fetishizing, right? Fetishizing trans women is
yeah,
more of a fetish.
but honestly, fetish has such a negative connotation, but what's wrong with having a fetish, like
Well, and I think
and
for the stories I've read, right, from trans women is
it
that
is, yeah, they are
they
fetish.
they feel, that they're just a fetish, that these men are not interested in pursuing a
Yeah.
relationship with them.
One of the reasons I got the surgery because trans community brainwashed me that men that are attracted to me and want to interact with my penis in any way are chasers and they don't see me as a real woman. And they were right because when I was a trans woman, I guess, with a dick, 80% of people like, hey, does it still work? Are you gonna be able to fuck like that? Does me still come? Like they literally didn't care how beautiful I looked or didn't look, how passable, whatever that means, I was or wasn't. They were just obsessed with the dick. That's all it was ever for. It's like they were, but in a way, looking back, what's wrong with being attracted? What's wrong with being with people? Like, I think the whole trans community is just like never enough. You know what I mean? It's like
Mhm.
it wasn't enough that after becoming from gay men, I went to trans women. I had like a sea of men wanting to be with me. Like that wasn't good enough. Like I had to have the surgery. I guess I got so brainwashed that like I guess I thought that like I'm gonna become a real woman and date like actual straight men who see me for me. But guess what? Straight guys want pussy. They want to fuck you, and they want to come and go next day to work and do it all over again and watch football on Sunday. Straight men are not that much different. You know what I mean? So it's like, I mean, you just all I have to tell to people, just hang in there. If you feel like your current partner just wants you for your body parts, I don't know, don't date them. Just hang in there, and maybe better people will come around.
Yeah.
Not everybody's a tranny chaser. You know what I mean? So it's
So,
like
in your experience, do you think these men that love trans women, are they more tops or bottoms, you think?
definitely bottoms, like
They're more
95.
bottoms? Oh, wow.
Yeah, 100%. But I mean, if they didn't want dick up the ass, why would they? They would just go see a regular girl. I mean, there's very few tops. I mean, I was such a bottom. Like that was like I was like that's why it was so frustrating to date because everybody wanted it up the ass, and in my mind, I didn't want to fuck some of that because in my mind I was brainwashed. I was a woman, and it's just like I. But then now I want to fuck a guy up the ass, like, and I can, I never, your sexual preferences changes, and even after I had the surgery, I was attracted to women as well because I was just attracted to everyone. And then now I'm like back on testosterone. I'm only attracted to men for the most part, but when I had the surgery, I was attracted to women, so I ended up having sex with a woman too, it's like,
Oh, wow.
yeah, it's like, so it wasn't a way conversion surgery, but I was mad about it because it came at the wrong time. And I was just kind of frustrated too. I'm like, oh, I never had a sex with a woman. I never dated a woman. And I lost my penis before ever having vaginal sex with a woman as a top, I guess. So
Right.
it was just like, it really was a mind fuck. I mean, it is. And
Yeah.
honestly, it's like, that's what people don't understand is your sexuality can change because of hormones and over time, So it's
Hmm.
like you just never know when you will need your body parts. You may think that right now you don't need your penis or your titties, but who knows? Like again, it's so fluid. One thing I know, sexuality is fluid, and so yeah, it's like so don't cut off your healthy body parts. Just
That's
wait
it.
and see.
That's the advice you can give to young people that reach out to you, right? Because if they inbox you and they have
Yes,
questions, then that's really good advice because, like I said, you can't reverse that. It's gone, it's gone.
yes, when trans community plays it down and says like, oh, hormones are reversible and that is reversible and this is reversible. A lot of us that's not reversible. So, and even taking hormones for a short amount of time can leave you confused. It's no joke to be exposed to cross-sex hormones and like it's like it changes your personality. Like it's like even now as I'm taking like testosterone, I feel like there's a battle of feminine and masculine within me, People are like, oh,
Right.
when are you gonna detransition? Like they mean outwardly. They don't understand the struggle that I had inside. I built up the sweet characters, the woman that I was, I guess, the characters that I created and I was because of hormonally this last 10 years or a few years she was a sweetheart and she trusted man and she like she and people just like discarded her and took advantage of her. It's just like I'm just kind of killing this feminine that I created. It's like I guess she will always be a part of my history, but I'm slowly killing her off. And that's what people don't understand. I may look outwardly the same I looked a few months ago, but I'm not the same person. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
the transition. People just like so focused on the outer part. They don't even know how hard it is for me right now. It's like I'm going through this new puberty, and it's like I don't even know like what's happening to me. It's like
So many different emotions and feelings going on
It
at some.
is. This is not a joke. These are very powerful hormones. Like,
Wow.
yeah.
Well, I do want to thank you for being
Thank you.
with me here live on YouTube and having this conversation. Which, like I said, it's a really hot topic right now, right? Everybody is talking about, like I said,
It is.
children transitioning and how early, at what age, and stuff. And there's more that I want to talk to you about, but hopefully, if you
Wow.
have time in the next few days, there's some
Okay.
other hot topics going on that we can talk about
Yeah.
in the
Thank you so
media.
much for having me. I really appreciate it. Thank you for giving me a platform, and thank you. Have a good day. Have a good night.
Yes,
Bye.
yes, I
Bye.
appreciate it. You have a good night too. We'll talk soon.
Have a good night. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Thanks.